The letter came in a crisp, manila envelope, stamped with the HOA's seal like it was some royal decree. My hands shook as I tore it open, the paper slicing my thumb just enough to sting. Violation notice. Unauthorized paint color on mailbox. Fine, $500. $500 for a mailbox I'd painted sage green to match the azaleas Mom planted before she passed. I stood in my kitchen, the scent of burnt toast lingering from breakfast, and felt the heat crawl up my neck. Karen, the HOA president, had been gunning for me since I moved into this cul-de-sac 6 months ago. Her pinched smile and clipboard were a neighborhood legend. But this was war. I crumpled the letter, the crinkle loud in the quiet house. Outside, the cicadas hummed, their drone rising like a fever. My little bungalow, Mom's pride, sat on a corner lot in Willow Creek, a sleepy suburb where picket fences hid sharp grudges. I'd come here to start over after the divorce, to rebuild in the house Mom left me. But Karen, she saw me as an outsider. A single mom with a beat-up Honda and a kid who liked to draw chalk murals on the driveway. To her, I was a smudge on her perfect canvas. I tossed the letter on the counter, next to a half-empty coffee mug, and grabbed my phone. My fingers hovered over the HOA's number. Call her. No. Karen didn't negotiate. She'd been at every meeting, her voice sharp as a whistle, lecturing about community standards, while her eyes locked on me. I'd seen her measuring my lawn with a ruler at dawn, her shadow long and menacing across the grass. The memory made my stomach twist. I sighed, a heavy sound that echoed in the empty kitchen, and sank into a chair. My daughter, Lily, was at school, probably doodling stars in her notebook. She didn't need to know her mom was fighting a suburban dictator over a mailbox. The next morning, I stood on my porch, the air thick with the scent of fresh-cut grass. Across the street, Karen's house gleamed white shutters. Pristine lawn, not a blade out of place. I squinted at my mailbox, its green paint soft and unoffending. Then I saw her, Karen, in a pastel cardigan, marching toward me with that clipboard clutched like a shield. My pulse spiked. "Morning, Sarah," she chirped, her voice syrupy but laced with venom. "I see you haven't paid the fine yet." "It's a mailbox, Karen," I said, my voice low, barely containing the tremor. "It's not hurting anyone." Her lips pursed, a tight line that screamed control. "Rules are rules. This neighborhood has standards. If you can't comply, maybe you don't belong here." The words landed like a slap. I wanted to scream, to tell her this was my house, my mother's legacy, but I swallowed it down. Not yet. To fight, but not on her terms. That night, I dug through Mom's old files in the attic, the air musty and heavy with dust, papers spilled across the floor bills, recipes, a faded photo of Mom planting those azaleas. Then I found it, the deed to the house, crisp and official, with my name typed neatly under owner. But something else caught my eye, a yellow document, tucked in a folder labeled Willow Creek. My breath hitched. It was a surveyor's map, showing the cul-de-sac's boundaries. My lot wasn't just a corner lot. It was bigger than I'd thought. Way bigger. The HOA's rules, Karen's precious bylaws, didn't apply to a sliver of my property. The mailbox sat on my land, outside their jurisdiction. I laughed, a sharp, disbelieving sound that bounced off the attic walls. Karen didn't know. She'd been fining me for something she had no power over. I clutched the map, my heart pounding like a drum. This was my weapon. The next week, I got another letter. Second violation. Non-compliant fence height. Fine. $750. My fence, a low wooden thing Mom built, was half an inch too tall. I could hear Karen's smug voice in every word. I pictured her typing it, her manicured nails clicking, her lips curled in triumph. I wanted to march to her house and shove the surveyor's map in her face. But I needed more. Proof. plan. I wasn't just fighting for May, was fighting for Lily. For Mom. For every neighbor Karen had bullied into submission. Enter Mike. The wild card. He lived 2 houses down. A retired surveyor with a grizzled beard and a laugh like gravel. I'd seen him at the mailbox, grumbling about Karen's reign of terror. On a whim, I knocked on his door, the surveyor's map tucked under my arm. The scent of cigar smoke hit me when he answered, his eyes sharp despite the wrinkles. "What's this about, Sarah?" he asked, leaning against the doorframe. I showed him the map. His eyebrows shot up, and he let out a low whistle. "Well, I'll be damned. Your lot's grandfathered in. HOA can't touch that strip of land." He pointed to the boundary line, his finger tracing the edge where my mailbox stood. "Karen's been overstepping for years. But this is gold." Mike offered to testify, his voice crackling with excitement. He'd seen Karen fine old Mrs. Jenkins for her rosebushes, harass the Garcias over their Christmas lights. He was done. So was I. We spent hours plotting, the hum of his ancient coffee maker filling the silence. He pulled out old county records, confirming the map's accuracy. My chest tightened with something like hope, but also fear. Karen wasn't just a busybody. She was a predator, and I was about to poke the beast. The HOA meeting was a circus. Neighbors packed the community center, the air thick with tension and the faint smell of lemon cleaner. Karen stood at the podium, her clipboard a scepter, her voice slicing through the chatter. "We're here to discuss ongoing violations," she said, her eyes flicking to me. I sat in the back, clutching the surveyor's map, my palms sweaty. Lily was at home with a sitter, probably drawing another chalk masterpiece. I wished I could be that carefree. When Karen called my name, I stood, my legs shaky but my voice steady. "I'm not paying your fines," I said. The room went quiet, a collective intake of breath. Karen's smile faltered, just for a second. "This is about community standards, Sarah," she said, her tone icy. "You're in violation." "No, Karen, you are." I held up the map, my voice rising. "This is my property line, my mailbox, my fence-a-theory on land the HOA can't touch. You've been fining me illegally." Gasps rippled through the crowd. Karen's face turned ashen, her clipboard trembling. I pressed on, detailing every fine, every threat, my voice cracking with the weight of it all. Mike stood beside me, his gruff voice backing me up, county records in hand. Karen tried to interrupt, her words sharp and desperate. But the neighbors were done. Mrs. Jenkins stood, her frail voice cutting through. "You fined me for my roses, Karen. My roses." The Garcias joined in, then others. A chorus of grievances. The room erupted, voices overlapping, chairs scraping. Karen's control slipped, her face a mask of panic. I felt a surge of triumph, but also exhaustion. This wasn't just about me anymore. The court date came a month later. The air in the county courthouse smelled of polished wood and stale coffee. I wore Mom's old pearl earrings, a small anchor to keep me steady. Karen sat across the aisle, her lawyer whispering furiously. She wouldn't look at me, but I could feel her rage. A cold current in the room. Mike testified, his voice steady as he explained the surveyor's map. The judge, a woman with sharp eyes and a no-nonsense braid, leaned forward, her pen tapping. When it was my turn, I spoke from the heart. I talked about Mom, her azaleas, the house she'd poured her soul into. I talked about Lily, her chalk drawings, her laughter. I talked about Karen's fines, her threats, the way she'd made me feel like an intruder in my own home. My voice broke, and I let it. The courtroom was silent, the only sound the faint hum of the air conditioner. I held up the deed, my name bold and clear. "This is my home," I said, "and no one not Karen." Not the HO adjuts to take that from me. The judge's ruling was swift. The HOA's fines were void. My property was mine. Free and clear. Karen's face crumpled. Her clipboard useless on the table. The neighbors in the gallery cheered. A raw, messy sound that filled my chest with light. I stepped outside. The sun warm on my face. The air sweet with spring. I exhaled. A long, shaky breath. And felt Mom's presence in the breeze. Back home, I painted the mailbox a brighter green. Lily giggling as she helped. Karen moved away a month later. Her house sold to a young couple with a dog. The neighborhood felt lighter. The cicadas hummed softer now. I'd won. Not just for me, but for everyone Karen had tried to break. Justice wasn't loud or flashy. It was this, my daughter's laughter. The smell of fresh paint. And a home that was finally, fiercely mine.